Looks like a riveting drive is ahead of me there, doesn't it? There's lots of places like that in Australia. We have an abundance of wilderness and desert. Maybe that's why the colonial powers couldn't cope with it. I quite often hear people talk about taking long treks in Australia. And there, as I said, there's plenty that we have across the remote parts of our country that some people just find them boring or tedious, or at least a challenge just to get across a long stretch of road or a long walk. And people might say there's nothing much to see. And that's one of the features of the wilderness. Can be rather confronting. All the distractions and crunches of typical life are gone, and all that's left is you and a vast, wild space. I think that psalm, and this is kind of one of the atmospheres of Lent and the season of Lent, and an encouragement to put aside some of those things that normally distract us or that we lean on, and to go through a bit of a barren time and give ourselves time to think about what's going on for us in our faith and in our life. And so the image of this wilderness can be a helpful one in that sense and describe it. And when you listen to that psalm, it's kind of, the psalmist their language kind of helps you experience it with them. They seem to be going through a moment like that themselves. We'll have the next one too. Some of these so-called wildernesses at other times are perfectly lush and green and beautiful. But as we know in Australia, they can turn, and that sort of thing can happen in our life too. At the beginning of Lent, we usually have a passage from each of the Gospels about the temptations of Jesus in the wilderness. The passage in itself is rich with material, but it's always important to know where it is and where it sits in Matthew in this case. It comes immediately after Jesus' baptism, where the Spirit descends upon him and God's voice is heard to say, "This is my Son, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased." So the temptations of Jesus in the wilderness are very much about who Jesus is and whose Jesus is. The same Spirit which endorses Jesus and blesses him leads him out into the wilderness. Everything about this story, particularly in Matthew, recalls the story of the Exodus, what Israel went through. Israel met God in the wilderness. Israel was tested in the wilderness, and now Jesus is tested. Baptised at the entry point into the promised land, he's led out into this long time, using that number 40, in the wilderness of, if you like, everyday life, where we are constantly offered a choice between the power of the kingdom of heaven and the power of empire. For the Israelites, that was the empire of Egypt. For in Jesus' time, the empire of Rome, the power of the world. Empire gets things done. It puts human beings on the moon. Its GPS technology can locate us within a few feet anywhere on the planet. And the whole system is built on power from the top down. Power which enables and preserves the rich and sacrifices those who are poor. Empire is built upon the backs of the slaves who perished in factory fires, just like the Egypt Empire was built upon the slavery of the Israelites. According to Oxfam, the outcome of empire finds 26 of the world's richest individuals having as much wealth as the poorest half, 3.8 billion people. Kingdom power is weak in the eyes of empire. It leaves no one behind and waits for the last and the least and the unlovable. It builds a level community instead of Babel towers. It is slow because it waits and persuades and heals. It is outpaced and overrun by the agility and disruptiveness of a growing empire or a carnivorous corporation. Kingdom power is the power of Jesus. Kingdom power is the power to die instead of winning. The power to die instead of getting your own way. The power to die so that other people can live. Kingdom power lives life at God's pace and in God's time. It gives rather than achieves. Everything that tempts Jesus in this reading is about the agile and coercive power of empire. Do not wait for food. Do not wait for God's validation, which seems so slow through the lens of empire. Launch forth in faith that God will provide and bear you up. Get things moving. Heal what you think needs healing. It's almost as if the empire wants to get out of the wilderness as quick as possible. It is as if empire is avoiding something. David Lose says, might it be that part of being human is being aware that we are insufficient, that we are not complete in and of ourselves, and that lack is a permanent part of our condition. To be human, in other words, is to be aware that we carry inside ourselves a hole, an emptiness, that we will always be restless to fill. Adam and Eve behold the fruit and conclude in a heartbeat that their hole is shaped just like that fruit. And yet after they eat, the emptiness remains. Someone said every back shed and garage, and maybe every study, is full of tools and toys someone imagined would fill the emptiness in their life. It's the same longing for some kind of completion. And the devil seeks to unsettle Jesus by provoking such an emptiness in his life. The devil suggests it's there, unrecognised. If you're the Son of God, and he goes on with his temptations, he challenges him by suggesting that the life God has for him is not sufficient. If you are the Son of God, you can fill this back for yourself. You need not wait for God, who may or may not be there. You can be safe on your own terms. The long desert journeys that some of us have been on can be a bit boring and a bit numbing. Some people are filled with fear at the apparent emptiness of desert spaces. All our props are removed. We learn how limited the idol of the internet is when there's not much mobile coverage. And then we're confronted with what is in our heart. We hunger, starved of our normal noisy diet, and must become acquainted with new ways of being. But if we will not endure the emptiness, and fear, we will never cross the desert. So perhaps another way of looking at this wilderness experience is to see that it reflects times in everyday life when the harshness of life, the pain of life confronts us. It's unavoidable. The great temptation is to force God to act to remove the pain and to relieve the agony of this sense that nothing matters and there's no meaning and there's no fairness and nothing can be done. That's called testing God. Everything the devil offers Jesus is based around getting a shortcut out of the desert. Do it my way and escape the anguish. Do it my way and mask the pain. The first two temptations are really just more specific examples of the last one. Serve Satan. Escaping the desert early or easily is to serve Satan. Another danger, of course, is not that we will choose to bow down to the devil, to the conventions and evils of empire. The danger can be a lot more subtle. It can be that we decide to lead and establish and inaugurate and manage and be an entrepreneur and succeed for God and grow the congregation, and we might one day realise that we've simply become one more example of empire building, and that all our struggle for God was an unrealised bowing down to something else, to a devil. Beyond the cross, there isn't a reservoir of awesome force. The power of God just is the weakness of the cross. The cross exhausts what we mean by the power of God, with no remainder. As Bonhoeffer says, God is weak and powerless in the world. And that is precisely the way, the only way in which God is with us and helps us. This is the radical power which will reshape the world and bring it to fruition. And it is the power which everything devilish wants us to ignore, because it is the power which shames the world of empire. Where will we seek our fulfilment and our salvation? Amen.